Hello and welcome to another Shut Up and Sit Down review. Join me on a road trip to Thunder Road. Yeah, Thunder Road. Thunder Road. You know Fury Road? Along there, past the Little Chef. Can't miss it. Alright, cheers mate, I'll see you soon. Bye! Don't worry, I'll be keeping my clothes on for the rest of the video. Kindly provided by Restoration Games, Thunder Road Vendetta is a race game, but also in many ways it's not. With 2 to 4 players bashing and crashing and repeatedly swearing as they try and get any one of their 3 cars over the finish line before anybody else. Traditional racing style, but also you can win if all of the other racers have been destroyed by smashing into the scenery, etc., which in England is something we call the Grand National. There are 3 expansions for this game out already and another one coming very soon. And that's why I'm honestly a little bit late coming to this game, because of something my fictional doctor calls optional expansion paralysis. And maybe I'll make a video just about that sometime. But for today, I'm just going to say that sometimes when we have games that have all of these optional expansions, that provides some horrible hurdles for my ADD brain that means I just can't do it. And even when members of our team can do it, like Tom is very good at going away and ranking lots and lots of different variations and expansions for things, but I think it's safe to say that that doesn't come without a mental cost.
That you also get to draw on the board. These are pretty nifty.
I'm just going to review a standard, normal, boxed game, vanilla style. Gosh, is this a beautiful and trashy little number. So it is a race, but the race can't end until somebody dies. If you remember the Mario 64 Infinite Staircase that Bowser did with Bad Magic, it's a bit like that. If you get to the end of the track, then more track just keeps coming. The road is infinite until one player has had all of their cars knocked out or flat out destroyed. At this point, the final piece of track on the table becomes the final part of the track. Get to the end of that, and by golly, you've flippin' won. At the start of a round, all players are going to roll their 4 dice. During the round, you're going to use these 4 dice to move each of your cars down the track by the number of pips on the dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you've got a 4th dice that you can spend to do something a little bit extra on this sheet of bonus powers. If and when your cars get knocked out of the race, you're going to be able to spend the excess dice that you no longer spend on moving them to coast, just adding a bit of extra movement to whatever you've got left. If at any point all 3 of your cars are inoperable, dead, toast, gone for good, you're out of the game, and the race is going to end very soon with whatever is the final track bit here becoming the end of the race. It's on. Just as a side note, gosh, that reminds me of Micro Machines, a video game from when I was a young man. Also, this game reminds me an awful lot of Rock and Roll Racing, another classic on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm just throwing that one out there to give you full disclosure, because I think I might be biased towards this game just because of how much I love Rock and Roll Racing and how much this feels like a board game of that. So please just put all my opinions right in the bin. If you end your turn and there's another car in one of the 3 spaces in front of you, then you get to take a pot shot at them with your guns. Rolling this chunky black dice that's weighted to basically ensure that it's easier to hit the big vehicles than it is the small ones. If you successfully hit them, then that car is going to take a damage tile. 2 damage tiles in front of them, and that car is temporarily toast. But also these damage tiles do things, fun things, like maybe that car skids off in a random direction, maybe some shrapnel flies off of it and hits nearby cars doing more damage. Maybe that car blasts off, just flying off into God knows what. But you only get to roll that dice and make an attack when your movement has finished, and there's a chance that you might want to check that you haven't crashed into anything else during that movement, because oh yes, it looks like you've smashed into absolutely everything else. Well, it's time for us to roll the slam dice. Oh, I never thought this day'd come. We got a purple one, we got a red one. You roll them both and it's going to tell you which car, whether it's the car on the top or the car on the bottom that's going to move, and which direction that car is going to move. So the car on the bottom is going to move into this space. That's not too bad. What happens if they get slammed into a space with a mystery road tile? I don't know. You flip it over and then you see what it did. Oh, that's bad. What happens if you roll the slam dice and then that car moves into a space where it's slamming with another car? We're slamming again, brother. Bring me my slam dice. What happens if that slams into another slam, slams into another car? Well, we're just slamming now. You cut me, I bleed, slam. What happens if a car slams into a brick wall? Bam! It's immediately dead. They are gone, killed, removed from the game. That escalated a bit quite quickly. Also, if you ever go off the edge of the road, then the car is immediately gone forever. So any bit of mountain or any edge and they're just dead, immediately gone. And the road's not that wide and there's quite a lot of mountain. So surely you want to avoid slamming into people at all costs? Nah. So look, there's a 2 in 3 chance that when you slam into a car, it's going to be the car you slam into, the one on the bottom, that gets moved, and that's not you. There is a 1 in 3 chance, of course, that it's going to be the car on the top that goes off into a random direction, but that's less than 2 in 3, so I say we do it. And as a Big Daddy Bear car bonus, if your car is bigger than the car that you're slamming into, then after those dice have been rolled, if you don't like the result, you can ask for precisely 1 reroll, and then whatever happens, happens. But yeah, I feel like you've got enough control of the odds there that you should definitely smash into smaller cars whenever you can and things will never go wrong. I mean, why wouldn't I? Odds are you'll either get shunted behind me or forwards into the sights of my gun. It's a win-win-win. Oh, but hang on. If I were to nudge you into that oil slick, and then that car hits that, oh, you get out of, oh, it's a bit of, explosions. The differences between these 3 weights of car are actually pretty minor, but they feel different enough for you to imagine the cars differently. And that comes together to give you a stronger sense of tactical strategy than maybe you should have in a game where you're mostly at the whims of dice. Now, I haven't explained all of the rules, but as you can see, it's a pretty simple, relatively light game. But there's quite a lot of variance in terms of how things pan out when you're playing it that comes from obviously having the randomized nature of these different bits of track and different combinations. But one thing I think really changes the shape of each game is this road die. At the start of each round, you're going to roll it, and that's going to provide a tasty optional bonus. If you can start a car's movement on tarmac and end it on tarmac without ever leaving the tarmac, 100% tarmac, you're going to get an extra movement value of that much that you can use. And mostly it's 1s and 2s, but there is a 3. There's a 3. That's a lot. That's half of a normal dice, just as a free bonus. So I mean, sometimes you have these games where everyone's smushed up in a horrible pack and smashing into each other. Other games, you have people shooting off and legitimately having little races. And then people are dropping their optional helicopters up at the end of the track, trying to one-shot those buggies, stop them from winning the race. The main thing I'm hopefully getting across at this point is, gosh, this game is just so evocative. Thunder Road is really frequently unfair, but I think it doesn't feel unfair because of the fact that you made reckless decisions. You were the one that decided to do that stupid thing, but you almost always do decide to do it because it makes being reckless so much fun. The theme of this just sets you up right from the start for chaos and disappointment, and it means you can be playing really well, making some fantastic choices, and then your car gets right up at the front, attack helicopters come in, shoot them, they shoot off into something, oh, it's an oil slick, oh, it's a mine, oh, they've completely been blown up. It's just what you expect. And the important thing is, you know that driver, all of the time, right as they smash themselves into a mountain, they had the biggest smile on their face and they were having the best day of their life. The theming of this game and the mechanics of this game aren't just well paired. They're kind of this cyclical, endless, infinite engine of energy. The theme makes you play it in a certain way, and then the mechanics make you double down on that, and then the way you start playing the game brings it to life in your mind even more. This is a game that bleeds sound effects when you're doing stuff. And obviously, Some of that power is borrowed from the fact that it is drawing from films we've seen, games we've played. I get that. And also, like, part of that is probably the nice, fun little plastic miniatures and stuff. But it's not just all of that. I think this game really does spring to life because of things that have been baked into the mechanics of the game. And even when you're not trying to slam into other cars and you're just trying to race ahead, even just the racing in this game is violence. If you go off the edge of this last piece of track and the race isn't over, we get a new one out of the box, whack it on, and the one at the back is gone. Any cars on that? Gone. Wiped out. Everything about the design of this game doesn't just encourage you to take risks, it encourages you to be greedy when taking those risks, to try and take it all. There are no safe options. Stay in the middle of the pack, you might get smashed into oblivion. Hang at the back, oh, that bit of road is gone now, you were too slow. Go ahead, well, good luck with that, but you're gonna have to go through all of those mystery spaces, and some of them are gonna be minefields. It's a game that wants you to play it like you're driving a stolen car. And for that reason, I actually really like the way that players can get knocked out of a game. The majority of the time, that's just a feel-bad moment, usually because somebody else has done it. But this feels more like when you're playing Skull, and you're kind of not bothered whether or not you win or lose. I'm gonna try something audacious, and if it goes right, woohoo, I've won. If it goes wrong, well, what a way to finish my game. I'm gonna get another drink. You're all going to be finished in about 5-10 minutes. And as mentioned earlier, this is another game from Restoration Games, who take old things and make them good. When I was looking up the original version of this game, was the first time that I realised that that game and this one have no official link to Mad Max. I just thought they did because of the colours. But it turns out, no, you can't copyright roads or a weather, which is fantastic news for my unofficial sequel, Thunder Roads and Boats. Be careful you don't grow addicted to water, because my donkey is going to steal it all. And as a side note, I just want to say that Restoration Games, honestly, are very good at what they do. It sounded like, judging by the rules, the original Thunder Road was a mixed bag, but they've brought it back as something that's kind of like, if you remember playing the original, I imagine this is a game that feels like you remember that game being, which is a cool thing to have done. I'd also like to give a really specific shout out here to the way that they have made this game chunky, right? Feels really like, oh yeah, I'll get my hands all over it. But also comes in a box that is entirely manageable. It looks amazingly pulpy and like a film poster, which is awesome. I love that. But the main thing is it plays on a table. You've got this thin track, and then you've got thin player areas, which means I shouldn't have to be celebrating this, but they've made a game that people can play on their tables that they own in their homes. Please, board game publishers, start doing that. I've had enough of your gigantic beasts. And I'm really getting into cream. Maybe I'm going to just pivot to cream chew. Thank you very much. It's light, it's silly, it's fun, it doesn't outstay its welcome, and there's a bunch of like extra little optional card modules that you can add in to add a little bit of flavour, a little bit of spice. It's cool. I like it. There, I said it. If you've enjoyed this video, you can go and watch other videos that we make. Also, you could sign up for some bonus bits, which is our kind of behind the scenes extra early access stuff. You get little playthroughs and stuff. We've done lots of things. We've probably done too many. We're trying. We're just people having a go, but we'll get better. How much cream can a man eat before he dies? Can somebody Google that?